Well, looked like some pictures leaked of the DJI Mavic Air 2. Got all the 411 on that coming up next. Hey everyone, Bill from Bill the Drone Reviewer, where I make drone and drone related videos. If you're new here, welcome, and consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night on Rotor Talk Live, I was joined by Marcus Crawford, Ron Braun, and Lauren Donauer. One of the subjects that we spent a considerable amount of time on were the pictures that were leaked of the DJI Mavic Air 2. Now, Lauren took us through these pictures, and we discussed the features that they revealed. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. Some news broke today, and there were some pictures of a drone that were leaked today. Okay, I'll use that in quotes. Okay, the Mavic Air 2. Now, what we're going to do is this. Lauren's going to walk through these pictures and go through, some of the features of the Mavic Air 2, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to discuss this. So, Lauren, I'm going to go ahead and put your screen up on there, and you can take it away, sir.
Okay, we've kind of talked about this before, and a lot of these pictures really leave little doubt to a lot of the stuff that I had discussed earlier. I don't know how well you guys can see my mouse, but anyways, if you look at the overall size of the drone, it's bigger than the original Mavic Air. And I think we need to almost stop, because I don't think they're going to be calling this the Mavic Air 2. I actually believe they're just going to be calling it a Mavic. And I will show you why in a slide or two. But anyways, from our discussions, as you can see, that motor design is entirely a different motor design than the previous Mavic Air. The overall size is bigger. Unfortunately, we don't have a picture of the drone with the wings unfolded, but new gimbal design, and that leads into another part of the overall design change. If you remember with the Mavic Air, it had a real issue with up camera angle, so that if you went into hard acceleration, you were kind of looking at the ground most of the time. So that has been resolved with both the body design change as well as the new gimbal. As you can see, you've got the sensors on the bottom here, as well as the ground lighting, which is kind of a nice little feature. That really shows off the back sensor here, if you can see my mouse at all. And the new prop design. So that was part of what I was talking about a few months ago. New motors, new ESCs, new battery. Probably expect a flight time of around 30, possibly as much as 35 minutes. Now this one here is probably the most telling one. If you look at the remote controller, a lot of people saying, well, that's ugly. But if you look at it, it kind of looks like the new smart controller, does it not? And that leads me to believe that this is most likely going to have OcuSync, just like the smart controller does. Some of the other things, and with that OcuSync, of course, we're going to have the much better signal range. And but unfortunately, with the slides, you can't really tell whether or not the side sensors are there, but it should have side sensors for full 360 obstacle avoidance. And finally, no big shock, but it's going to have ADS-B. Back to you, Bill.
Well, that's definitely, there's a lot to digest there. I mean, that's enough. That's enough to talk about for a long time. But what I want to do is this. I'm gonna get. What I want for everybody is their reaction to this, and I'm gonna start here. I'm just gonna make I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna say, and I shared this with everyone, and they laughed. I said it's like a Mavic Mini on steroids. Okay, you know, I love it. Don't get me wrong here, and I think this is going to have a real niche, a real niche here. It's gonna fit in perfectly. Okay, with these specs, and I think for me personally, the number one thing I was looking for from this was OcuSync, okay? And if this has OcuSync and it's under $1,000, okay, it's not going to sell. It's not going to outsell the Mavic Mini, but I'll tell you what, it's going to give it a real run for its money because it's going to have that 4K camera in there. It's going to have OcuSync, which everybody knows that the biggest beef about the Mavic Air was that doggone Wi-Fi, in its range, and especially in urban areas, it was horrible. I mean, I didn't experience it, and I know Marcus didn't experience it, but I know a lot of people did, and that was a real pain point with a lot of people. And the other thing too is, it sticks with the tried and true design. Okay, it's something that worked not only for the original Mavic Pro, but worked for the Mavic 2 series, now the Mavic Mini, and now this may be being called the Mavic or Mavic here. It really is just something I think is going to do very well. Whoever wants to go next, go for it.
One of the other key things that they're also resolving is the noise factor. If you remember, the Mavic Air was noisy, and it was an irritating noise. It wasn't just loud; it was just irritating noise. And those new motors, ESCs, and props really addresses that. And by the way, I've already ordered mine, so
pre-order. I also pre-ordered mine from Gearbest today. I got a tracking number. Will be here on December 24th.
Christmas Eve. Eve. So a thought occurred to me that, and Lauren, you said it, that it'll probably just be called the Mavic, not the Mavic Air 2. So this may very well be the new mainstream drone, prosumer drone for DJI, and have a lot of the features that somebody like me might be looking for. It looks, clearly it's going to be a little bit heavier. It's going to have, there's no question that's a 4K camera, right? They wouldn't make it without that. So let me throw this out at you. What if the Mavic 3 or whatever they call that then becomes a level above a Mavic Pro, so to speak, that is just going for just like the new Evo 2 with an 8K camera and all those other features, higher end features that quite frankly are a little bit above what somebody like me is looking for. This may be the middle of the road Mavic that has all the range and has all the features that a prosumer flyer, quite frankly, like me, would be interested in.
Yeah, great comment, Marcus. I see where you're going there, and it makes a lot of sense. I want to shout out to FSU Grad 03. That's DeMarco in the chat. He's a good comment. He says, "I'm sold." Enough said. When Lauren went over the specs of this new drone, I'll call it the wannabe Mavic Air 2, which probably won't be that. And I saw another comment. I can't scroll back to find it, but somebody called it the Mini Pro. So they were some highlight comments from the chat. But to this drone, the specs that Lauren laid out, again, they sound terrific. I think they've covered all the bases here, and Marcus said, they've kind of taken it to another level. It's not really a kind of a smaller, I hate to use the word entry level with the Mavic Air since it had so many good features, but this is kind of a step above, bigger, stronger, can much more battery life, not just a little more battery life. I mean, battery life up to the point where, it's right up there with what we're experiencing now with our Mavic 2s. And it all makes sense because if it does have OcuSync 2 on it, it can't have 20 minutes of battery life then, because if you took it out as far as it could go, you couldn't get it back. So it needs that battery life to go along with the increased range of the the OcuSync 2.0, which again, that would be the killer feature. This all sounds good. I mean, I'm like DeMarco. I'm sold. I'm in. But then I backtrack. Wait a minute. If we're putting OcuSync 2 in here and we're putting 30 minutes of battery life in here, what's that going to do to the price point here? That's definitely going to raise up another notch. And back to Marcus' theory, if it's kind of replacing the Mavic 2, being that the Mavic 3 is going to be like, a really high end, 1-inch sensor and, maybe 8K, whatever, this maybe is going to slot in that kind of like, Lauren, I'm going to stop my thought mid-sentence because Lauren has an answer. Lauren, take it away.
Yeah, actually, answer Scott's question. Expect the release date is probably going to be April or May. It's supposed to be second quarter anyways, which basically will be April or May. Price point Canadian is expected to be $1,100 to $1,200 Canadian dollars. So for you guys, it should be under $1,000.
Well,
if you can get it with the smart controller, boys, I'm in.
Yeah, that's another question for Lauren. Okay, now if this has OcuSync 2 in it, is there any possibility that will run with the older smart controller?
Good question. Don't know. I'll be honest with you. Don't know.
That's something to look into.
I believe, and I've only heard just rumbles, is that it will be compatible with the new smart controller. So that's part of what makes me believe it's going to be OcuSync. Now, those are just grumblings I've heard. Nothing is confirmed.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Now, you said the word new smart controller.
Yes.
Ooh, that's intriguing, gentlemen.
So that's remains to be seen because, like I say, I've only heard grumblings on it. Some stuff I'm still awaiting confirmation. But
okay, well, it's this is definitely something it's exciting because I think and Marcus hit on a real good point here when he was talking about like the Mavic 3 series. Let's call it that, and being in this plateau and being the 8K and then maybe a 6K with a 1-inch sensor and then having a new dual thermal imaging, kind of like doing tit for tat with Autel, matching what they have to say and keeping it, almost kicking it up to a prosumer type level. Okay. And then the Mavic, or Mavic as we'll call it, really kind of fitting in between a beginner drone like the Mavic Mini and the Mavic 3 series, really filling a real nice niche there for somebody who's looking for a consumer drone that wants, professional, looking video, wants a good runtime with it, wants good range with it, wants a safe drone with, 360 optical avoidance and ADS-B in it. I mean, and they keep this under $1,000, gentlemen. It's really going to give the Mavic Mini a run for its money in terms of sales. I'll tell you that right now. And when it gets to be time to pre-order, okay, it's like I'm signing. I can tell you that right now.
Bill, should I put my Mavic Mini on eBay now and like Marcus said, build up my war chest?
Build up your war chest. Go for it.
Can you share my screen again, Bill?
Sure thing.
Yeah. Just something Marcus said. If you have a nice close look, what is it? That says on the bottom Mavic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they have been kind of renaming the line of drones because we used to have the Spark, right? And that's gone. And they went to the Mavic Mini. And rather than having a Mavic Air, just Mavic. And I suspect that the Mavic 3 will end up being just the Mavic Pro. My thoughts. Don't know. But I think they're cleaning up the product line names.
That's exactly where I was going with it, Lauren. That's the exact same thought I had. I totally agree.
And I think, and you bring up a good point here, Lauren, because, and Marcus too, with the, differentiating the drones, because, when you think of the Mavic Pro, okay, the original one, you have this picture in your mind. It's like, for example, somebody says, DJI Phantom, okay, boom, you have the iconic image in your mind. All right. with a Mavic Pro, you have the image in your mind. All right. The spark, everybody gets an image. And now with this, okay, when you're talking about a Mavic Mini, okay, people will know the image. When you're talking about a Mavic Pro, you know, a Mavic 3, people will have an image. And when you talk about a Mavic, people will have an image. So, you know, and I think this is good marketing on DJI's part, because they're differentiating it between the let's call three, you know, classes of you know, we'll call them, for lack of a better term, consumer level drones, and putting some distinctions between them. And that's actually very smart marketing, okay? Because, you know, we'll have the Mavic Mini will be appealing to the beginners and the newbies and people just getting into quads. You know, with the Mavic itself, or Mavic, you know, it'll appeal probably mostly to people like us, wanting to kick up, you know, but not wanting to spend the, you know, $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. And then, you know, there's going to be the Mavic Pro or the Mavic 3 series, that where you're going to have people who are going to want that extra, who are going to want the 8K, who's going to want the 6K with a 1-inch sensor, who's going to want the dual thermal imaging for, you know, maybe, you know, search and rescue capabilities, or, you know, other types of things that you're able to do with it. So it really is kind of lending itself, is a very smart marketing move on DJI's part.
Yeah, they cover all their different customers in a simple and understandable line. The worst thing to do is to go in to a product you don't know a lot about, and you can't make sense of the names, and that's over drones or any other category. And just in our beloved Zinos, if you came in, if you never heard of a Zino before, and you started shopping for Zino and you wanted the best Zino, you'd probably buy the Zino Pro because it's the Pro, right? Well, the Zino Pro is not the best Zino. The naming is confused, just like the current Mavic line's a little bit confused. I mean, like, for instance, when the Mavic Pro first came out, it was the very first Mavic. It should have just been a Mavic. They should have saved the Pro name for the next one, or the better one. So I totally agree with cleaning up the names and the product line. Is going to be a great help for new consumers to pick the proper drone for themselves, and placing this supposed just Mavic in the middle of the lineup, or the top of the middle, you know, like quite an advancement over the Mini, and enough drone for most people that aren't professionals or real, we'll say real high-end amateur photographers that may need the 1-inch sensor of a Mavic 2 Pro, or going forward just a Mavic Pro. If what we laid out here is correct, I think it's a great business decision on DJI's part, and it should help sell more units for people like Lauren.
Yeah, the good conversation this afternoon. Somebody was talking to me about the camera specs, and they were saying, well, why didn't they go to the 4K 60? Well,
this isn't going to have 4K 60.
No, it's going to be 4K 30.
Okay.
It's not going to be 4K 60, and part of the reason is because then if you go to 4K 60, then you're kind of biting the toenails of the Mavic 2, or the Mavic 2 series, as well as possibly the 3, right?
Right.
And why buy a Mavic 2 if I can get a Mavic Air that does 4K 60, right? And it's cheaper.
Right.
So you're not going to see great improvement in specs. Overall dynamic color software is supposed to be slightly better, but yeah. Steven says it the best. Everybody wants the bell and whistle for the price of a Mini.
My only rebuttal to that, Lauren, is the problem is if they don't put 4K 60 in, and you say they're not going to, it won't be long before they have a lot of other companies chipping at their heels with 4K 60 on that price drone or less, and they're going to lose sales to other companies that offer that feature.
I don't think so.
Well, we have the Evo 1, which is 4K 60. So I know the Evo 1 has stolen a lot of sales from people who want 4K 60 affordably. And also they like the fact that Evo doesn't have all the restrictions or whatever. So, I mean, already the Evo has done it. It's just the fact that, the Autel messed up with the delay of the first Evo not getting it out earlier. Just my opinion, of course.
Hey, Ron, so you put me on to Potato Jet's video about frame rates, and we've discussed it. 30 frames per second is probably all I ever need in 4K.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
I bet you Air Photography's in the chat here. I bet he'd tell us the same thing. But your point is well taken. A lot of people just look at those specs. I mean, look at the splash that the Zino 2 is making with 4K 60 frames per second. It's for the kind of video that I'm dealing with, I just don't need those kind of capabilities.
Yeah, Marcus and I've talked about it greatly. There's a lot of confusion about frame rates out there. And as Marcus said, I recommend going over watching Potato Joe's video, and it's not a most new video. You have to dig for it. But see, it's a lot of people in the market who equate 4K 60 to be a better camera. And that's not necessarily the case. It could be, but just because you have 4K 60 doesn't mean you have a superior camera to something that's 4K 30. Again, we could talk the rest of the night on 4K 60 versus 4K 30, but
well, Stephen Ewing put it really well, because everybody wants a Cadillac, but they're paying for like an entry level Chevrolet. Okay, I mean it's not going to happen. All right, but look at the bang for the buck here, and realize something, that in this package, with the potential prices that we're talking about with this, everything that you're getting in this package, it's an incredible amount of technology if you really stop and think about it. All right, having this kind of a battery life, having OcuSync with this, having ADS-B, having 360 obstacle avoidance in it, and a compact folding drone that's bigger than a Mavic Mini, but it's smaller than a Mavic 2. It's going to fit a real nice niche. It's really going to be that portable go-to drone. And the other thing for this too, and I know a lot has been said about it, and I know Marcus, I think we've all experienced it, is taking the Mavic Mini and getting those wind warnings up there. Now, we've got used to it, and then obviously DJI put out a firmware update that took care of some of those. But I mean, there's a lot of times, I would love to get the Mini up, but it's just not. But I got to put my Phantom or Mavic up, because it's just not going to be able to handle that wind. Whereas in this instance, with the Mavic or Mavic, okay, it's going to be able to handle something like that. What are you guys' thoughts on it being bigger and being able to handle more things than the Mini?
Okay, so you just touched a nerve with me, Bill. So one of the things that I'm always just amazed at, I hear people talk about the Mavic Mini, and they wanted to have follow me, and they wanted to have this, and they wanted to have that. It is an amazing piece of technology for $400. It flies amazing, and I totally agree with you, Bill. It doesn't handle the wind like a more powerful drone, but it was $400, and it's pretty cool for $400. So anyway, so this drone, this new Mavic, it looks like it's going to take us, just like you suggest, Bill, to that next level above for people that want that next level of performance. But of course, no doubt it's going to be a heavier drone. So, for instance, if I'm going up to Canada to see Lauren, it isn't that one I'm taking with me. I'll be bringing the Mini.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point. And to answer Bill's question about this being much better in the wind than the Mini, and again, it's all price versus performance. The Mini's a $399 drone. This is a $999 drone. There's going to be it better be much better in the wind. It better not be the same wind performance at that higher price. I mean, so just right that price, you got to have expectations of the wind. But I'm going to ask Bill and maybe Lauren a tough question here. Okay, we got the US $999 price point, and Laura's gave us, what we think is going to be the specs. But from what I just heard, this doesn't sound like it's much of an upgrade over back to the Evo 1. I could go right now to walk down to Best Buy and buy the Evo 1, which has 4K 60 and about the same flight time and a lot of the same camera features, whatever. I could get that right now. Why am I sitting around waiting for this Mavic, which basically doesn't sound like as much of an upgrade over the 2-year-old Evo 1 at the same price point?
It's going to be
I could wait for a sale and find the Evo for $899.
Well, here I'm going to answer your question, Ron. Okay,
Thank you, Bill.
One of the number one ADS-B. Okay, that sells a drone, I think, instantly. Okay, having that capability, because I've seen it before, I've seen it used, and it's to die for. I mean, every time I go out now, I'm hearing more private planes out there, and I'm like, gosh darn it, it's like, and I'm cranking my head, looking around, trying to see where they're at and everything. This eliminates that. Okay, you have zero room for error with something like that, having ADS-B on your drone. Okay, the other thing is it has 360 obstacle avoidance. The Evo 1 does not. I know a lot of people that when they were backing up their Evo 1s, it doesn't have a sensor on the rear, and boom, came down the Evo 1. So I think for those two reasons, for me, you got to go with the Mavic or Mavic.
Hey, let me add one more, Bill.
Go for it, Marcus.
We don't know this, but the potential for the smart controller, that's a big deal to me.
Yeah, that really, that is huge. That's
Just remember that is my postulation based on the design, the look of that controller. Because if you look at it, and Bill, you've got a smart controller, minus the screen, it looks almost identical, right?
It really, it just begs for that, Lauren. You're right. It really does. I mean, the design and the pieces would fit in with something like this. I mean, it would make a lot of sense as far as that's concerned. So, it's exciting, and we're on the verge of it because April's coming up. And one thing that of, and that kind of like, I can kick back and breathe a sigh of relief. When it comes time to get one, all right, I don't have to contact the good folks at Gearbest to do this. Okay. I can either hit up Best Buy like I did, or DJI, and know that within a week or so, it's going to be sitting on my doorstep. Okay. There won't be this 4 months of waiting for like a Zino 2, which is going to turn out to at least be for us. So
Bill, I have a question. What will happen first? Will this new map, we'll just call it the Mavic, be released, or will you get your Zino 2? What will happen first?
There's odds. There's
cool.
Right now, I'm on the phone with a bookie in Vegas. They're calculating the odds right now. So I'm getting ready to place that. Question of the day. What do you think of the DJI Mavic Air 2? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.